perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin. And these beads, if you would know, like, we're like so crazy about bead craftings, and we haven't really done any this year yet. I think I put the toolbox out to the shepherd's hut, like to Bawang Isabel, in summer, and I haven't brought it back. So, but we could easily make something with these. I really love them. Thank you so much. You're being so kind to me. So this is day 14, 14th of December, which means we've already gone past the halfway mark. That's so crazy. And I'm excited to see what I'm gonna make with these. They'll definitely go into our family quilt, and you probably would have seen some of the footage that I filmed. I'm already starting to cut out the squares for the family quilt from the Stashvent. haven't edited anything. I haven't really knitted anything in days. So I've made a huge mess. This can only mean one thing. The new zine is here! What? Zine number 8. This is my mock-up, but I'm gonna kind of film. I've just printed it. I'm so excited. I'm gonna film me putting it together as a little cheeky sneaky peeky, and I will send them all out to my subscribers today, and then tonight when it gets dark I will edit. I've also recorded a podcast, episode number 44, but to be honest it was Sunday when the light was going, and I'm gonna add that to the Adventism, or some of it, because there's some bleepers and crap in it. And then I'm gonna prepare a much better one. I'm gonna use the proper daylight I have today on my kids' last school day, because they're going into lockdown here in Berlin, so their school will be online tomorrow. I'm gonna have to support them, well, my youngest, through that for a little bit. So my work is kind of a bit yeah, let's see how my work is going. And I think I've just found a cocooned moth or butterfly. Oh my god, in one of our houseplants. Look. If that is who I think it is, this summer I had a little balcony garden, and there was one caterpillar being extra cheeky, and they ate literally all of my dye plants. I had this kind of Welt dye as well, which is like Welt I think in English. And oh god, I really hope that they will... I really hope this is a successful moth or successful butterfly. Okay, I'm gonna film. I'm gonna film the craziness of this, and I hope you enjoy a bit of a sneak peek behind the scene. And then I will film the podcast, and then there will be some editing and some baking with the kids. She's sneaky. So it's the 16th of December and this is part of Adventism No.3. Officially we're now in lockdown, so the kids are home and doing schooling. You'll hear both the boys are in some kind of videos teaching. My daughter just finished, so I thought I won't disrupt too much by filming. You would have seen a lot of zine packing and making. Actually, I didn't really film the big lot of putting everything in envelopes and putting the stamps on and stuff, but I did film putting some of the zines together. And yeah, I had to change the Etsy shop a little bit, as I won't be able to do the calendars as usual because my photo, the shop that I have my photos printed in will be closed now because they're non-essential. But never mind, we'll just see how it goes, and maybe I'll just put another lot of Yarnchix calendars online at the end of December. No, not at the end of December. Mid-January, I think, because that's when they'll reopen, hopefully. I'll show you in the kitchen, actually. So I just thought I'd quickly show you the calendar if I'm talking about it. This is this year's calendar, so if you like to have the calendar and the month's photo to be a surprise for you, then maybe just whilst I've put music over the back of this, whilst I flip through, just knit something, ignore it. And otherwise I thought I'll show some of the photographs that I share in this year's calendar, or in the upcoming 2021 calendar.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
These would mainly be pictures taken in this year, 2020. But some of the pictures you would have seen in the calendar were 2019. So like the December shot and the November shot, they were kind of late last year. I kind of try and use pictures of the equivalent month of the year that's just about to finish. That's why the last two calendars, or maybe I've done it for 3 years now, would kind of tell you stories or little glimpses of where I am, and I try and use photographs that are a bit intriguing, where you're kind of looking at it and wondering what else there is, or photographs like this one of the calendula patch in the garden, where you kind of keep seeing things or seeing areas anew. I kind of like that visual labyrinth style. So yeah, it is a photographic calendar, so I print every page myself. Like I have the photographs printed, and this year I didn't really reckon with the amount of work it would take. I put backings on the photographs which make the photographs into postcards, and then you can send them best in an envelope, because obviously I use glue, and it's, you know, it's kind of a fragile postcard, but it is a handmade postcard. I'd hoped that the pre-orders, which I opened in end of October, November, would be quite a lot. However, it wasn't as many as it being worthwhile for me to have the cards printed. I think if I'd had a big amount of pre-orders, I would have invested in having cards printed with the photographs and my kind of postcard backing design in a way that would have been good now, because I would have been able to offer more, because then you kind of buy a bigger lot, and you know, you kind of have to make it all worthwhile. That only really makes sense if I sell 30 or 40 calendars, but I reckon I'll be around 10 this year, so I better just craft them, which means I'm kind of underpaying myself, but it's the usual thing with these crafting items that are, you know, not readily made, that are, you know, take a bit of time to put together, as all my zine and paper stuff does. It's kind of more self-funding. In hindsight, maybe the postcard thing wasn't such a good idea, but hindsight is, you know, we can't change, can't go back, and I've offered it, so I'm not gonna take that offer back. So I think it's gonna just stay like that, and it'll just be 10 calendars this year. So if you want to snatch one up, now's your time. I've bought enough material to make 10, and then there'll be 10. And otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna double check with the situation, lockdown and shop opening times related in January, and I don't think it's too bad to have a new calendar in January, but I think all in all, this product was a bit of a, yeah, I tried. And something else I wanted to show you, I'll get it quickly. However, I have ventured out and created something entirely different, which is also calendar related. This is my first ever fabric design, and it is a calendar towel. I really love drawing this hen. She is holding a banner saying "Cluck it all 2021", and then you see all the months and the dates of the month, and I sew them up. So I have the fabric printed, and then I sew them up and put these kind of vintage ribbons in as labels, and I decided to put 2 kind of corner labels both sides, mainly because this is how I want to hang it myself. You know, I'm going to put up 2 hooks, and I'm going to have it up as a calendar, like a kind of funny quirky thing in the kitchen for this year, and then next year I'll just use it as a towel. Yeah, and it's a bit crinkly because I washed it, so it's a linen cotton blend fabric, and so I sew it up, add the kind of vintagey label, and then I wash them all, because I think it's kind of nicer to have them pre-washed when you receive them in the mail, and hopefully it'll smell a bit delicious of like freshly washed linen is always the best thing. And yeah, so I've got 10 of these. I'm excited to have those in the shop. In the shop alongside my zines and the pins. And last but really not least, please consider buying the paperboatpin, because as a way of giving something back this year, I've decided I didn't really want big presents, or I don't really want cards or stuff for myself, but I do want to collect a bit of money to donate to Sea-Watch crew. And one way that I have donated to them in the past was through the paperboatpin, and I'm going to carry on doing that. Only in this season I'm going to donate the full amount of profit to Sea-Watch crew, so that'll be, if I sell all 100 pins, it'll be 700 euros that I've collected through product sales, profits, and I would try and up that to £1,000 if I can, if I have like Christmas money coming in or something. So I'm excited to have that product in my shop, and I would like to donate a big lump sum to Sea Watch Crew because they're doing really important work. It's basically a reaction to the politics that have increased the pushback to Libya for people fleeing across the Mediterranean Sea. And Sea Watch Crew is one of the, I always say pedestrian, but you know what I mean, like a public, like an NGO that supports and rescues people out at sea between the African coast and the European coast, which often is near Malta or Italian borders or Greece. So you have all these areas that are already relatively financially at strain. It's crazy, and really what the further north European countries should do is evacuate areas like, for example, the camp on Moria, or Lesbos, which is called Moria, or Moria 2 now, to basically to support the European sort of community with helping out. And it's impossible how people are living there. So that's another thing. But for now, my donations go to like sea rescue out in the Meds, and I hope you agree that it's really worth investing and giving a little something back to the people doing this really important work in the Mediterranean Sea of saving lives. And they have a few boats in their fleet, and they're really closely connected to the other NGOs on the Mediterranean. some shop scenes, because I don't know, you probably heard me say this in the vlogmas before. I work in 2 yarn stores in Berlin. One at Savini-Platz, which is called La Laine, and I filmed our kind of last day of business before lockdown receipt printout. It was madness, and accidentally we pressed all receipts instead of daily receipts, so we had all of the receipts come out, and I thought it was kind of a funny clip, as well as some kind of customer inspiration and customer shopping, because you do kind of see some interesting things, and it kind of made me feel really inspired or happy to see what the customers were bringing in to either match colors with, or one person brought in that beautiful polar bear, and I just wanted to share some of the kind of shop craze, as well as my kind of showing Christmas knitting yarn, because I was asked to write something for Wollen, as in Ruta, my boss in the other shop, which is in Friedrichshain. She does these blog posts for Christmas, and I think I handed mine in way too late, but never mind. I kind of took pictures of myself with the Lopi in the shop, or Nora, my dear friend and colleague, took a picture of me holding up the Lopi. So I thought, to bridge over from that, I'll talk works in progress or plans for the Christmas season, like, you know, what am I knitting between the years, as we say in German. I can't decide, so I need your help. I'm gonna show you some of my whips, like long-term ones, and actually talk about what I knitting or crocheting anyway now, with the Lopi pictures that I just shared. So let's start with that, because it kind of makes sense leading over from the photographs. In my beautiful bag that I was gifted for Christmas by Lieke, I have the skein that I held up in that picture. Look, I've got to hold it up to the camera. Bit of a visual trick, because I'd forgotten to get the post box. This is Postkasse, a design by Helle Juncker, which can be found in the Advent zine that I'm currently sending out daily pages to all the subscribers and those who bought the digital content on my Etsy shop. The Advent zine was basically an idea that I'm sure I'm going to do next year. I really enjoy. I'm producing daily pages, or some of the articles, you know, the columns are 4 or 5 pages, so sometimes I spread them out, or if I haven't shared 2 or 3 pages by Sunday, on the Advent Sunday, I will be sending out like the whole rest of the article on a Sunday. So I have got some really interesting stuff in that, including the Postkasse, a crochet design. Yeah, her Instagram handle is Tilnjord, and you should check her out. I love what she does, and she's super inspiring, and one of the magic 3-mile makers you might have met in the past. So I had to get a new skein of the bright red, because I'm making another one. And Nora didn't know when she took the picture. It was basically because I'm making a Postkasse for her Secret Santa. I picked her out of the hat for Secret Santa, and yeah, I needed more yarn to make it, because I just used remains for this. So I'm excited to make another one, and I am gonna share some tutorial type of things, so I could add them in here when I'm editing, because I want to encourage my Advent zine subscribers to maybe join in with me on the weekend of the 4th Advent, but we'll see. I'm gonna share the little tutorials to help, and maybe I should put them up on my kind of saved stories so that people can go back to them. So you'll find my kind of little tips and tricks, like for example how I made this matchbox drawer and how I fixed this on, you know, that would be one of the stories, as well as like this stitch when you kind of crochet together all the sides. You do this kind of raised crochet stitch, so you have this line, or these lines. The camera's probably showing up quite well how you have to make these like raised stitches so that it looks neat. I didn't film the embroidery. I think everyone can do that how they want. This, like a bauble hanging, I was gifted by a colleague at La Laine, which is really cute. And the ribbon is actually from my advent calendar from Vibeke, so recycling. Oh, and this is from this, it's kind of like a linen that is some of the parcels in my Stashvent by Caitlin are wrapped in this kind of white linen twill, well, I don't know, it's like a, or maybe it's cotton, it's like a thicker yarn. I used it for the embroidery, so I'm using some Stashvent and Advent stuff. And I would do the same for Nora's. So that would have been some kind of Lopi making and knitting. I have, however, bought more colors, and you would have seen that in the photograph. I have also bought these. When I was a kid, my mum had made me this really cool, super woolly leg warmers, and they weren't actually like maybe a bit more grayish pink, and well, a brownish grey and a greyish pink, and they kept me really warm. I used to complain because they were really woolen and itchy, but if you put them on over leggings or kind of, you know, to bridge over between sock and jeans, I used to really love wearing them in winter. And back then, where I lived in the kind of hills, I did need a bit more woolen stuff as a kid, and I kind of gave in. I guess my kid is a bit like that. If it's too scratchy, she won't wear it, but when it's very cold, she wears my kind of mini mitts and stuff. She does wear them when it gets cold on the bike and stuff. So I'm making that kind of, or I'm planning to make the leg warmers that my mum made from memory. It's like a colorwork thing, and I think it was one of her only colorwork projects, and I'm trying to recreate that from memory. So it'll be like recreating this leg warmer set. So I got those, and I actually got more Lopi in here because I'm Lopi crazy. But yeah, so with my idea to add this to vlogmas number 3, you could help me decide what to knit after Christmas and before the new year. Just comment below if you want to see me do Lopi leg warmers, for example. And I'm going to carry on showing you the whips, and I would love it if you could comment with, I want to see that in vlogmas, because then you'll get a glimpse of what project I picked up in my last vlogmas episode, number 4, which will be coming around New Year's Day, I suppose. So the other whip I have, I don't think I've knitted anything on it. Oh yes, I do, I have. So I've knitted 2 wedges. Oh my god, I couldn't even remember that. On my Isaura cape. This will be a price for the Magic 3 Mile category. Magic 3 Mending Mountain, and yeah, I did 2 more, so there's only 22 wedges to do. Do you want to see some more wedges being knit from Stash? Got a whole bag of Stash and the Isaura cape in this project bag. So my camera just cut out after I showed the Isaura cape. So I'm gonna now show a whip that's very important to me because it's actually my 40th birthday present. I'm gonna turn 42 in 2 months, so maybe I should be knitting on this. So please tell me if I should be knitting on this. It's the glorious Soiree sweater, and it's quite dense, the fabric, so I kind of put it aside when, I don't know if you can tell. Now I'm knitting, oh, and this is messed up, which is terrible. I'm knitting forwards and backwards, and these, there is cables on the sides, and this, I'm using this really precious stitch marker, which helps count the rows. You basically, every row, you just move one link in this chain. I was given this in our Secret Santa at the Knit Circle in 2019, so when we're still able to have our kind of Christmassy events and stuff. I absolutely love it, and I just saw that I've dropped it, so I don't actually know which row I am on. So I've got to, it's gonna take some, yeah. I should be putting it here so that it's always stuck on the cable and it can't drop off. And I've got to also be sure to be safe with this cable needle. Anyway, I really want to wear this. It's only getting cold in Berlin now, and this is like a really amazing mix of yarns. I'm using Stashstravaganza indigo dyed in this really cool shade of blue, and I'm pairing it with Atelier Mohair. Sorry, the swatch is in the way. So it's subtly different, it's subtly greener, the Atelier Silk Mohair. I bought that last Christmas with my Christmas money at Wollen. But it makes this really perfect texture, and as the plant dyed, indigo dye, Stashstravaganza kind of fades in and out of blue, sometimes it goes a bit lighter, the mohair seems to kind of iron that out, because I think it would look a bit like pooling. I didn't really want that for my Soiree sweater, but yeah. So with the stitch marker out and all of this, do you want me to dive into cable knitting? Then please comment with Soiree. I mean, it's overdue. And it lives in this really cool blue project bag. Then there is, there has been little progress, but a little progress on my contrast cowl, designed by Josh Moll. And I'm using the postcard colorway. It's an Amalia Zebra, which I've been generously gifted by Nana, a friend who lives in Germany now after having lived in the States. And she actually went to Amalia's, like a, you know, like a pop-up thing in her local yarn store where Nana was living. So it's a super precious skein, and I'm pairing it with this, which is a Tulliver yarn, the plant dyed. And as you can tell, it's not going to be for the whole cowl. I definitely have enough of the postcard, but I won't have enough of the Tulliver. But I've got a second skein lined up for this, which is kind of slightly pinker, and I might add in some more hair flare, and it's going to be quite a fun cowl. Yeah, do you want me to carry on knitting my mosaic pattern? Please. The contrast cowl runs all year. It's kind of open. Also, again, still next year. I'm sure maybe around my birthday we can wrap up, and there's some amazing projects in that, and I will draw a prize on the last day of this year, on the 31st of December. There will be a contrast cowl midway prize, but you know, some of you have finished, so it's quite exciting. I'm gonna just draw from all the posts in our feed for the knit along. Then obviously my Stashvent knitting, which is still quite small. This is the SOS cowl, patterned by Maddie Harvey, and I'm using from Stash this kind of sandy coloured mohair by Kana. It's a pure kid silk mohair, so no silk, kid mohair, that's it. And it's a Danish company. I absolutely love their yarn. My rock hopper shawl is knit from this, and I ordered this when I ordered top up for my rock hopper shawl, and so it's been in my stash for a long time, like 4 years, and now I'm using that, and I'm pairing all the kind of minis that, like right now I'm knitting this Isaura yarn, and I knit with another Isaura yarn before. I can't find it right now. I love this kind of little, very vintagey look of the cowl, and I think it's gonna block wider because it's kind of a fine lace, and I'm gonna make the mini version, so the short cowl, and give it to my daughter, I think. Well, let's see, because this is the bag of mini skeins and some of what has been left from my Advent knitting. But so there is another kind of like a brownie tweed, which I guess is like an Irish tweed, like a Donegal, as well as this very dark red, and another pink. So they are quite fittingly all these really subtly vintage colors. Got brown and a mustardy yellow. What else have I got? Oh yeah, this is the mini skein that I knitted, that I started the contrast colour with for the SOS cowl, Isaura. The stone colorway in the Highland. It's really nice to work with. And then there's this really bright red, which came from Vibike's advent calendar. I think I will use that next. I'm gonna try and lay it out on the table to show you a bit of a colorway. So do you want me to like get going and finish up the SOS cowl this year still? Let me know. And second to last. So you have lots of options. I might have to make a list of options because there's so many. Is my Stashstravaganza, or it's kind of the Slipstravaganza M color, West Knits design, which I participated in People Knit in October, and I'm into the next section, which I had to actually wait to knit because I'd lost this skein, which is the next grey. And in my podcast you would see me, I will knit this grey, and then after that, there. So the next main colour will be this sheepy grey, and then it'll be this sheepy cream, this is Lana Rara, and this is Abenaya yarn, generously gifted to me by Marisa. And this I bought in my last travels for a festival at the Swiss Yarn Festival, where Lana Rara had a stand and I got to teach, so they're kind of precious skeins for me. So, and I will add colour from Stash. There's lots of different Stash yarns. You know, on the back you can kind of see it. This was a recent purchase, I must admit. I kind of bought it and thought a West Knits shawl, and then this Stashvent was happening. I was like, okay, I'll go into that, but I'll go into another West Knits shawl as well. It's the Kiezgarn Cozy colorway. Very, very lusciously purpley pink, just like the tiles at Coty. So yeah, tell me, should I do Stashstravaganza between the years? Or should I cast on a whole new sweater? Should I go all crazy between the years? Because I really want to knit the classic Raglan Light by Jessie May in this the Liebeswedding colorway by Kiezgarn. We collaborated on this colorway and I'm so excited. It's mainly grey and then it's kind of brick, vintagey, sepia oranges, and then a bit like graffiti spray paint, sprinkles of turquoise and pink and this bright yellow. I absolutely love it. And one skein of this actually went into the parcel for the overall winner of the Magic 3 Mile, which I forgot to say in my podcast, but I'm saying it here now, and I'll definitely talk about it in my next podcast because this will be a cast on. It's just when will I cast on? So the Kiezgarn classic Raglan. Tell me, what shall I cast on? Here's a list. You can choose between all the points of this list. If you're too lazy to type out Stashstravaganza and classic cozy Raglan light Kiezgarn, then just use the numbers that I've put in front and I will try and work out which one to go for. So thank you so much for watching my third Vlogmas Advent episode. I'm still filming and carry on filming for the fourth one, which I guess will come on New Year's Day. I'm a bit behind, but that's just because it's super busy time and I always take so much time editing. Meanwhile, I did publish a podcast, which I'm very excited. It will be the last podcast this year. And I'm also super overdue with some vlogs and mini podcasts for the Patreon, so I will have to crack on with the editing, which I'll do with this. Yeah, I hope you have a really good Christmas or seasonal rest, because even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you do not have to work and you've got time to kick back and relax and knit a little and indulge in some kind of self-care. I really hope so for you, as I hope so for myself. I'm overdue a break. Oh. Okay, have a good day. Bye.